good, y'all? Back again. The Black Phoenix Podcast. We rise from the ashes like we do every week. MC, TR. TR was good.
Hey, I'm good. Gotta tell everybody, got all my digits. So nothing was blown up or lost over on 4th of July.
Man, yeah, Jason Pierre Paul going on,
Hey, terrible, terrible situation for him. But there was I mean, for the folks, if you're not on Reddit, you gotta get on Reddit. Reddit is like another form of X where you get to kind of see the real. And I knew I was going to see some fireworks, and I saw the glimpse of something. And because on Reddit you can blur it out if you don't want to blur it out, or I mean, well, actually, I think you can do it yourself. But I saw one. I had to scroll past it. I can't do it. I could. This
Yeah.
dude messed up his hand, and it's a rap ski.
Reddit is a wild place. If you're not on there, I highly recommend you get there
Yeah,
because you really see what kind of people are in this world, number one.
true.
Um, and there's so many videos on there that I want to bring up for us to discuss on here, but we're kind of limited to what YouTube allows right now. So
Yeah.
a lot of those videos on Reddit are too grimy for us to talk about here. But maybe sometime in the future we'll open up another venue to have more deeper, in-depth conversations.
Yeah, that might be for the what do you call it? The Patreon or the locals or whatever we get set up. So
Yeah, no doubt. Hey
yep.
TR, I just thought about this real quick. One of these days we're gonna have to do a segment called "For the Haters" because we need to make some of these ninjas famous, man, for real. Uh,
Yeah, folks. you know, I'm glad you brought that up though, because you know, no one right now. I still haven't seen a lot of people talk about that story with the football player dude,
yeah,
and man, folks was definitely in their fields the other day when we brought that up though, because they're like, "You're saying his name wrong," and that's not what he is. That's not how you say his name, so don't even talk about it. I'm like, so are we just going to ignore how his chick is alleged to be cheating on him and is trying to extort child support out of him and not let him see his kid? All right, fuck it, whatever.
yeah, that was kind of goofy logic
Let it
anyway
be.
because I looked up who that person was and I wanted to respond and say keep that same energy when you see like an African name or something, but
Facts.
not being able to pronounce somebody's name is not a good reason not to talk about something.
Yeah, that's more of a reason to really have that conversation. And men in general. See, this is the thing with like a lot of men. This is why a lot of men just get fucked up because in the court system they get messed up in the just in relationships in general. Is because you hear one thing or somebody says something, you just dismiss it, so you don't need to even listen to it anymore. Or men in general just don't even talk about this stuff. Like, well, unfortunately for him, I'm like, you think that's okay for her to he does all the hard work and get them get engaged, and she's obviously not working, and she's on her social media trying to grow it, and just walk away. Like we're seeing who just got Dwight Howard. Like you guys are lucky we didn't get a chance to talk about Dwight Howard. He going through it. This chick wants
Yeah,
half after 6 months. Shit.
yeah, he going through it for real.
Yeah, we need to have that segment too. So
Indeed, man. So much stuff to talk about. As long as the betas out here, as long as the hypersensitive out here, we always gonna have content. That's for sure.
always, man. 100. Oh damn. So I was gonna bring. So we have like kind of a quick crash out videos to kind of look at, and the link that I had, so they removed it. It was all, and this is off of Reddit. I'm glazing Reddit, and they removed the link. Let me see if I can find it real quick though, because it definitely goes into like our discussion about men crashing out, and then how men need to handle certain situations. And make no mistake, I'm not telling men what to do, how to do things. I'm just letting you know you got to see these things how they take place, because you're kind of insulated. If you just stay on Facebook, you're never going to see any of this stuff. You're never going to hear about these conversations. Even with like Myron Gaines, I know a lot of people have their from the dude from Fresh and Fit. I know people have their opinions about Myron Gaines, but he ain't always wrong. That's the thing. Like Myron is not always wrong. Neither is Anton Daniels, Greg Adams, Coach Greg Adams, the Angry Man. Like there's a lot of YouTubers out here that have these real world discussions, and you may not like everything, but you need to hear about it.
It's funny you said that, Tr, because I was actually just thinking about that an hour ago. I was rethinking our last recording, and you had some criticisms from Andrew Tate, and a lot of it was deserved, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't change the fact that occasionally, just because you disagree with somebody, sometimes they say stuff that
Oh yeah.
like that's on your wavelength that you agree with, and a lot of men, when they hear stuff that they don't agree with, they tend to shut down and not want to hear the rest of the conversation. But the way I think, if somebody says something that's wild and ridiculous, I want them to substantiate it. Like
Yes.
here, like tell me, like Charlie Kirk, for example. A lot of people call him racist because he makes comments about how the absence of the father in the black community is a huge factor into a lot of the problems that we're having.
Hmm.
But here's my thing: what's wrong about that statement? Are you disagreeing with the statement, or are you mad because he's the one who said it? And that's kind of how we are. We need to start reprogramming ourselves. Attack the argument, not the person who's making the argument. Attack the point, not the person who's making the argument. If you
Yeah.
disagree with it, come up with something and rip it apart. But don't get in your feelings just because somebody you don't like said it. You
Yes.
can't do that anymore.
Yep. So yeah, that's a very, very great point. Um, I want to bring up, well, again, I can't bring up that one video that I wanted to pull up, but I just want you to see, like, this was like a real topic. Hold on, go back here. Damn it. All right. I'm not gonna be able to bring it up. Hold on.
Yeah, there's so many videos that we want to share with y'all that we just can't. But eventually we gonna get to that. I sent TR a video earlier today. I'll describe it because we can't share it. It was a man and a woman arguing at a bar. We don't know what started the argument. We don't know what the root cause of the argument was. But the woman proceeded to slap the man in the face in front of everybody. That man reacted by returning that same energy, and his impact was a lot worse than hers. Let's just put it that way. And most of the people in the comments were pretty clear minded, like, hey, everybody should just keep their hands to themselves. There were a few women that jumped on and said he never should have retaliated. You got to show more restraint. But my question to women like that is, where's the line with the restraint? Why are you justifying a woman who's putting her hands on a man? That's never acceptable. Nobody
Yeah.
should be touching anybody.
Have you seen this video?
I have not.
All right, you're gonna like it. Hold on. All right, I got to keep the music off, but you can see.
I see disrespect off the rip. Off the rip. He's patient. He's being patient.
Jeez.
Can't help but notice she's by herself, TR.
This is a minute 25. I don't speak Spanish, so Trace Doritos. Look at that. Look at that. You see that?
All right,
Hold on.
security came and did their job. Okay.
No, right here. Oh, damn it.
Oh,
Right there.
that last super kick she hit him with, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, sweet chin music. You're right.
Only thing missing was the contact on the chin. Oh yeah, this is reckless.
Now your polo all dirty and shit.
Yeah, he got footprints on the back of that polo now.
All right. MC, thoughts?
The comment right there makes complete sense. He was very patient. Después means after, by the way. I know I speak a little bit of Spanish.
It means deputies?
Después. The comment right there said Tres Doritos Después.
All right. Is it flexing on us?
I live in Arizona, man. You're gonna pick some of it up at some point.
Yeah.
Dude was real patient. He was very patient. He would have been completely justified to, at the very least, grabbing her feet and just shoving her to the side or something. But that comment I made right there, again, I noticed that she was alone. And the reason why I hit on that is I say this all the time. Who's your protection? Because me personally, if she was with a man, I'd have took my frustrations out on that man. I'd have gave her a verbal warning and said, look, I'm not gonna touch you, but everything you doing to me is about to come at this dude that you with. But I'm a different type of dude. So, but this was wild, man. He definitely showed a lot of restraint. She definitely took advantage of being a woman and the protections that come with being a woman. And her behavior was just disgusting. I don't care what started the argument. She doesn't have the right to put her feet like that. No, that was wild.
Yeah. Do you think she came there alone?
It looked like it in the picture, but I rarely know people that go to athletic events alone.
Yes. Well, especially women. I don't think I know most women are not going to an event by themselves in most cases. Sometimes because of stuff like this. Now, that said, where were, and I know in this video, there weren't a lot of women here, but where were the women at and at all this? Because we're going to see who's in front of us, who's on the side, and maybe on the right side a little bit. Where were the women at on this? Because shouldn't a woman came in and is it beyond the pale to expect women to come in and intervene in something like this? Is this something that you just have to sit there and get like shoes and get kicked on? I mean, because he's getting kicked on for at least a couple minutes. And so I don't know who went. He obviously didn't go anywhere. Somebody else went and got to security. But is it beyond the pale, or is it? Can you expect women? Can we expect in society women to step in? Because reverse this situation. Let a guy just even simply harass a woman. We're not even talking about putting feet on the woman. Let a woman or let a guy just start straight harassing a woman. Everybody, that whole row, the row in front of him, the row behind him, the row on the side of him, the row on the left side of him, they all come in to check that dude. So I think in this society, since women want equality and everything, I think a woman should have came in and checked that woman. And
Yeah, but
multiple women.
we know accountability looks different for women than it does for men, and I've seen women so many times. I guarantee you, if he would have reacted to her, all the women would have jumped up and, why are you doing this to her? She's a lady. Women will unify and click up and form Captain Planet whenever a woman's in danger, regardless of if she initiated that danger.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I've learned. And women don't hold each other accountable like we do. It's just facts, man. And you got to get comfortable with double standards because they exist. But what you cannot do is pick and choose your double standards based on I can't talk, how it's advantageous to you. You can't pick and choose. If you're gonna accept one, you gotta accept them all.
Yeah.
And I look at women as needing these extra layers of protection. So that by definition means that we are not the same in the sense that they think we are.
Yeah, I tell you what, just looking at that though, there was a incident where I took this chick I was dating to a country show, and we were like in the front and at the front row, and that's where everybody's just like standing and everything, and it got real wild up there. And she's like a little Barbie, so she ain't got no weight to her. I don't expect her to, even if a woman is getting out of line, I don't expect her to jump in there and do anything. But there was a big chick that, I say she's big though because she pushed my girl at the time. She pushed her to the side, and this woman had no guy with her. And I looked at her, I just pushed her, and she went. And again, this is a big girl, so she just went flying. I'm like, "What are you doing? Like, don't touch her." And so those are some of the weird situations, and nobody said anything. So there's a bunch of women. Everybody saw what she did, and nobody did a damn thing when she pushed her. What she didn't realize that I was with her, and then she got checked soon as that shit happened, though. So I was like, "Don't touch her, right? You're wrong for pushing her." So it's crazy how society, expects men to step in, and I'm okay with that. It's just that when the women are getting out of line, there's 100% no one there to check them. Because I was actually thinking about this. Whenever we seen like a woman get checked in the public, like a woman's just disrespecting a guy, and there's no guy that runs up. I mean, first of all, men don't really just step in those situations, but women don't do it either. Like I haven't seen one single woman actually step into a situation. They might step in after a bunch of men have stepped in, but for the most part, I really don't see a lot of women going in there.
No, and that holds true that damn near every situation I've ever been in with a masculine, hostile woman. And for the record, I've never put my hands on a woman, but I've definitely restrained one or two because you're not about to put your hands on me and just nothing happens. Like, nah, that's
Oh
I'm
yeah,
gonna hold you until the security gets there, or the police or something. But nah, it can't be like that. It just can't. And
yeah.
I hope you women recognize this because a lot of y'all seem to let these types of things slide. And some of y'all actually see empowerment in it. Let's keep it a buck. And that's kind of yet another reason why I have smoke for the feminist community because a lot of them will stay silent on stuff like this.
Yeah, they
We
100% stay silent.
Yeah, and I tell you what, TR, they keep hiding this study every time it comes out. But when you look at the highest rates of DV
New
in
fallout.
relationships,
Hmm.
it's typically the lesbians.
Yeah, scissors.
And for some reason they keep hiding it when it comes up. They keep trying to do counter studies, and it's true every single time. So again, you have to realize from a biblical perspective, they're called the weaker vessel for a reason. I expect a lot more emotion and a little bit less logic. And man, you got to counteract that stuff. You can't fall for the sympathy card because I guarantee you, when that woman gets interviewed, and she will, she's probably going to start crying, and she's probably going to talk about how she was wronged and make herself the victim and gain public sympathy
Oh yeah, she probably didn't
because
get
that's
charged.
yeah. But she's still going to try to get the court of public outrage on her side, and
Fact.
women generally win that battle.
Yeah. So yeah, this is why we have these conversations, man. There's actually a bunch of other stuff that's occurred, that's happened that people, no one ever brings up, and so we'll do our best to get those stories out there. But you got to be aware of this stuff. You got to be ready to. I mean, like even though you did hold a lot of restraint, I can't say I would have did the same. I think I would have grabbed her legs. You
Yeah.
ain't about to put you ain't about to put these dunks on me.
Yeah, your feet are getting shoved, or you might be getting shoved. I ain't gonna hit you, but you will be moved. That
Facts.
was unacceptable.
All right. We are gonna pivot to the next topic, which we were gonna talk about the Elon Musk party, right? MC?
Yeah, unless you want to jump straight to the Marvel stuff.
Oh, you know what? Yes, that's what it was. Yes, I'm glad I checked that with you because ooh, guys. So I know we're a little late on this, but we wanted to, we had a lot of stuff going on, so we wanted to make sure we're both caught up on the Ironheart series that just concluded. I want to say last week, and this I don't know if you knew this, MC, but the Ironheart show was actually completed 2 years ago. This thing has been sitting on the shelf for the last
Yeah.
2 years, so you can in my opinion, you can tell when this thing was made because there was a lot of woke nonsense that was going on. Now, I do like some of the I'm not a big fan of the whole suit and everything, but I do enjoy seeing Iron Man suits. Like, even if it's like in a terrible show or whatever, I do like seeing the suits. So I think they did okay job with the final version of the suit. And I've never read the comic, but from what I read on the comic, though, it had a lot of hype when it came out, and then it just died down. And so Riri Williams she's a pretty new Marvel character. I want to say she came out like maybe, I know I'm gonna get caught up on this, but like 2018 or something, or 2015. It was very recent though, so you don't usually see a lot of new Marvel characters elevated so high, especially in like the Marvel universe. So there's some discussion to be had there too. But I think this was a bad product for the Marvel. Not as bad as some of the other ones that they have done, but I don't think this was a good product for them though, just because they put a lot of their own their I mean, again, their wokeness into this show. I think the woman that played Riri Williams, I think they made her very masculine. They made her very arrogant. So I don't know if that's how she is in the comics, but she's a very pretty girl. I saw her in some other movies that she's been in, and it's like, why do y'all do? And I noticed this a lot with Black women, is that when they put them in these some of these Marvel shows and some of these shows in general, they make them super masculine or they cut their hair off, which I know in Black Panther it actually worked, but it doesn't work for all the other shows that they put a lot of Black women in. I'm like, stop doing that. I hate seeing that because your hair is your damn power. Like your hair is what gives you that feminine look. And but for Riri, I know she had her hair though, but I was like, is this Lil Wayne? Like she came across like she was like either 40 or 14. Like I don't know what was going on here, but I wasn't a big fan of some of the other side characters. But I'm gonna stop right there though before I get too far into it. Let's get your thoughts.
So I'm going to sound all over the place. I walked into it thinking I was going to hate it,
Sure.
and when I watched the first 3 episodes, and I get you, you got to set up stories, you got to set up backgrounds, explain characters, and all that stuff. And when I watched the first three, I thought my initial analysis was going to be correct. I thought it was going to be trash, but it picked up with the final 3 episodes, and I actually ended up kind of liking it. I do have a few problems with it though, and I do have a few problems with Marvel and Disney right now. Real quick, Tr. It looks like
Mhm.
the first time Riri made an appearance was in 2016 in Invincible Iron Man 2, Volume 7, if I'm reading this right on the Marvel Archive. So she is relatively new.
Yeah.
What's not relatively new is both Disney and Marvel doing unnecessary panders. I'm fine with Riri Williams' character. What I'm not fine with was, and this turned off a lot of people, was Slug. If you look at who Slug was in the, if you look at who Slug was in the comics versus who Slug was in the actual series,
Yep.
this is clearly either Disney or Marvel or possibly both either has a not understandable respect or a huge fear of the alphabet community. And I get they have power. They're one of the big four that I always talk about. But I didn't see any reason for them to take Slug and change the orientation and the race. I never understood why they do this. It was just odd to me. But I
Wait.
liked it, and there's probably going to be some spoilers in these conversations,
Oh,
folks.
if you ain't, yeah, spoiler. I should have said that at the beginning. This is gonna be this is not spoiler free. So
Yeah, yeah.
too bad, so sad.
I knew that they were either going to bring in Doctor Doom, Mephisto, or Dormammu as the main villain. Just I
Sure.
kind of saw it trending that way, so I was trying to guess which one would be which, and it ended up being Mephisto. I liked the way he was introduced. I like the casting of the show itself, and the story picked up in those latter 3 episodes. But like you said, Tr, you can tell they had this in the chamber, and they just wanted to just let it out.
Yeah.
I think it would have been more impactful, but they Marvel kind of shot themselves in the foot with this. They killed Iron Man off too soon because there were so many other stories that they could have told. I know Robert Downey Jr. wanted to move on and do other
No,
things.
Kevin Feige killed off Iron Man. He made the decision.
Regardless, it was too soon. This would have been the perfect time for Iron Man to make some type of appearance to some degree because she's always going to be attached to Iron Man,
Hmm.
and they even acknowledged it with the love that her stepfather had for Iron Man. So
Well,
that
you know
clearly
what?
that's what she was inspired
I
by.
got to jump in here real quick.
Go
So
ahead.
I'm glad you brought that though, because this is the other thing. This is the other problem I have with Iron Man. They okay, and I know Ryan Coogler was involved with this. And then just a quick point of order. Did you know the Ironheart was directed? The first 3 episodes were directed by Samantha Bailey, and then the latter 3 were directed by Angela Barnes. Okay, and so Angela Barnes, well, Samantha Bailey, she's actually had a few, and I thought it was really weird. I was like, I've never heard of 2 directors for 6 episodes. I thought that was kind of interesting, but she's been involved with some other projects that, if you look at her and then you look at some of the things that she's directed, you would like, okay, that kind of makes sense. I think the most recent one was Dear White People. I never saw that. I meant to watch that because it made it sound like it's gonna be a comedy, but it might be something else.
You're
But
not going to like it, Tr, because they take little jabs at masculinity and
oh,
at times.
well, that tracks for how Ironheart is. And so when they and the other thing you mentioned, um, it it's connected to Tony Stark, but to me, they did everything that they could that to discredit Tony Stark. Like if Tony Stark had if I had Tony Stark's millions or billions, and the meme I kept seeing going on, and maybe you've seen it too, or maybe you'll remember when I say it, is like Tony Stark built this suit in a cave.
Yeah.
Like that's 100%. And then and they took jabs at him at the beginning at the beginning of the episode, right at the beginning, within the first 5 minutes. So the people that were directing, I know Ryan Coogler was a part of this as well too. they did everything in their power to make sure that this is 100% about Riri, and I get all that, but Riri only exists because of Tony Stark, and she's making it sound like Tony Stark was like a nobody, and then Riri did a bunch of things that, I mean, she created like an AI system, an AI avatar just from a damn laptop from her brain. Like, and I know we gotta let some things slide, but come on, like
Well,
Tony
Marvel
Stark,
wrote her up to be one of the smartest people in the Marvel
right?
universe,
And
though.
I get all that, and that's in the comics, and they, I don't know if they follow the comics exactly, but here's the thing: is that they made it seem like she can do anything, and everything she tried to do, she just kind of messed it up, or she didn't know how she did any of this stuff. Like, I think it was really silly when she said, you know, everybody wants these Iron Man suits. I'm like, no, they don't. You're in a world where you can create a lot of other things, and you can make a lot of money, but they make it sound like that she's, you know, she's being oppressed or something. And they call it out at the beginning when she's getting expelled, but she's only getting expelled for the power outage. So it's not like she's being expelled for, like, you know, the stealing of you know, school and lab equipment or whatever stuff, the parts she said she was building for her Iron Man suit. But it's like a lot of things that were wrong regarding stuff like that. But I tell you the main point, and I'm glad you brought this up though, is you said her father was, you know, he adored or liked Tony Stark and whatnot. Riri does not like Tony Stark like that. And also, I gotta say, they definitely took a jab at men, black, specifically black men, in this, because the stepfather, and usually Disney kills off the mom, but in this case, it's a stepfather who gets, you know, murdered in his shop, and then Riri. I thought this was really messed up. They turned his car into the Iron Man suit. I was like, what are we doing here? Because Riri, she had two cars. She had that yellow car, and then she had her stepdad's car. Oh, we lost MC. So, anyways, you know, I guess you guys have an idea how I feel about the Ironheart series, and it's just one of those series where they could have did a lot better with this one, and it shows why it sat on the shelves for like 2 years, and they just pushed it out. They could have easily shelved it. They could have easily just put this on a shelf for like they did with, like, you know, Batwoman or the Powerpuff Girls that was supposed to come out. They didn't do any of that stuff. I got some stuff on my face. Anyways, they could have easily just shelved this and said, like, hey, we're going to take the loss. But what I think happened is they didn't want to shelve it because of who was attached to it. Oh, we got MC back. You
That
good,
was
MC?
a terrible crash out. My bad.
Oh, it looks like you're kind of stuck. You want to fix your camera?
Yeah, yeah. Hold on.
You might have to go off cam if it's not working.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out and come right back. Hold on. You have to keep talking.
Yeah. Okay. So, anyways,